Hello, everybody. Welcome on back to Comic Conquest, and we return for saws in the background. I don't know if you can hear it, but we return for Bad Batch.
Star Wars, baby.
Star Wars, Clone Wars.
Bad Batch two-part
sequel.
finale just wrapped up.
Yeah, so Bad Batch Season 1 has concluded. Season 2 has been confirmed, right?
Confirmed.
Yeah.
Confirmed, yeah. By
So-
Lucasfilm.
Yeah, so, yeah. Let's do some breakdown. So we're going to be focusing mostly on that last two-part finale.
Two-part finale. There's a lot of stuff that
Yeah.
happened.
Because everything else was kind of boring.
Well, there's some cool things.
Well, there's some bits, but like...
Yeah.
So
the two-part finale is really about the Habit and the destruction of Camino. So, of course, the episode before the two-part finale, I think, Hunter's captured when they're on, what's that planet called? I don't remember. Pop it up. It starts with a D. I forget. Where we rescue Gregor. And we see Gregor and the clone commandos again training the TKs, I think they're called.
TK, or is it KT? TK? Who cares?
Something like that.
It doesn't matter. It was there.
Stormtroopers.
It's an homage to original concept art for the Stormtroopers. So
yeah, of course, Crosshair comes, takes Hunter Camino, baits him out. I'm sure you guys watched the finale if you're watching this video. But
spoilers.
We see Omega sneak in. The Omega and the crew have to sneak through the Imperial blockade on Camino, and we get some interesting bits because we learn Omega is really older than Clone Force 99, which I think is kind of funny. And we get a little mention of that. I forget in which episode, maybe the one we just watched. Or the
yeah, it's the last one. Tech goes, technically she's older than all of us, and Crosshair, spoiler, he's just like, what?
Yeah. But yeah, we're back on Camino, and the Empire is evacuating. They're getting the hell off this planet, and we see that the Admiral takes the head scientist who was told to sneak off the planet, and she failed is it he or she? I forget. They failed because they're not a good scientist, and then
they're good scientists. They're not a good spy.
Yeah. And then the people that run, the guy that runs the clone facility gets clapped by the Empire off screen. I love how the doors as the clone troopers turn, or the troops turn around to look at him, the door just closes. And it's just like depression.
My guy is full of blaster holes.
But we see the crew come in on a pad away from the main city. Omega sneaks the crew in through these underground tunnels, which come in handy later.
Did you say underground?
No, underwater. Did I say underground? Underwater? I don't know.
Roll
back the clip. No. Roll the clip. Through these underground tunnels.
I see. Okay. You did say that.
I'm dumb. We get an interesting thing this whole episode where the first part of this finale where the Empire's like, watch out for Crosshair. He's being weird. And we see that because he brings, is it that episode? He brings Hunter to the training facility.
Yes, that's
to bait out.
That's the
Clone
first
Force
one.
99.
Yeah, first one. So Hunter's there. He's captured Hunter. He's in the training facility, and Crosshair has a feeling that his Clone Force 99 at that point is pretty close. They're gonna be there soon. So he's got Hunter in like an execution kind of position, just kind of baiting them out, ready to spring his trap.
Just to scare him a little bit.
Just to give him a little concern. But eventually Clone Force 99 gets below the training facility, which is a great callback to like episode 1, I believe it is.
Yeah, there's a lot of callbacks to episode 1 this whole finale.
Where they're at the training facility and they prove their worth, I guess. But Yeah, so we've got Clone Force 99. They tell Omega, stay down here in case everything goes south. It always goes south. Remember, make the plan, execute the plan, expect the plan to go off the rails.
Make a new plan.
Make a new plan, as our favorite heist man always says. Of course, the plan goes absolutely wrong, seeing as Crosshair expected them to expect him expecting them to come in through a different entrance, so he expects them to come in through the second entrance, and like it's like a heist movie, and like, oh, you think I did this, but guess what?
I was 3 steps ahead.
So we get this crazy scene, the final confrontation. Crosshairs is like, you never came back for me.
You never loved me, Dad.
I was one of your brothers. And then they're like, bro, we didn't have a choice. He's like, you had a choice. They're like, this is your chip saying that.
He doesn't have a chip. The whole time. We found out Crosshair had his chip removed at some point.
Like a long time ago, apparently. So he's just been hunting his brothers for like no apparent reason.
And then there's an interesting point in the episode where he goes, I'm gonna offer you something you never offered me, Hunter.
A chance.
You're like, oh shit.
Join me in the Empire, Hunter.
Yeah, literally, he's like, join the dark side of the Force.
Join me. Oh, sorry, wrong character. And then and of course Hunter's like, nah, bruh. That's dumb. You're dumb.
You're dumb. You're dumb, son.
Dude, what? Omega at that point is it realizes everything's gone south. She's received a signal, and she's starting to...
She has AZ again.
Yeah, AZ's back. I hate that guy for some reason. I don't know. He got what... He should have died.
About it. Let's move.
But she starts activating the proto Death Trooper robot things that
from Mandalorian.
From the Mandalorian that we talked about all the way back in episode 1.
Episode 1.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them this time. Huh?
There's a whole you know that like stage in a video game where the whole only objective is to survive. That's that objective.
Yeah.
Survive.
And at this moment, everybody, all of Crosshair's troop, just dips. They're like,
nah, he shoots him.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Crosshair. You're Crosshair pulls a dead shot. He's got mirrors placed all around. Fires a single shot and goes through all of the stormtroopers.
Yeah, as they're surrounded. You're right. My bad.
Yeah. Come on, that's what's confusing. Yeah. It's like what?
Yeah, because he keeps changing. Like, it's actually pretty interesting because I was watching this very late at night,
or early in the morning, depends.
Yeah, it depends on how you look at it. And I was kind of on the edge of my bed because I was laying down. Because I was like, what is this guy doing? I was like so confused. The Empire, the Admiral that we saw before, I forget his name.
Doesn't matter.
Reinhardt or something, I think.
Reinhardt, yeah, sure, whatever. Why not? Let's go with that, Reinhardt.
He's just like ready to, he like calls Tarkin and he's like, I'm ready to blow the spot up.
And Tarkin's like, do what you gotta do, bruh. I'm over here building a Death Star.
We get the scene where Clone Force 99 has to work together again. All of them.
With Crosshairs. It's a pretty epic moment.
Yep. And the fight scene's actually really good. Like, the way it just... I don't know how to describe it. The way it happens, and it's pretty smooth throughout it. Yeah.
It's good stuff. Enjoyable. You get to see everybody working together like they had in... the first episode, and the first couple episodes of season 7 of the Clone Wars. It was great.
Yeah, it's kind of like a callback to that. And then what happens, August? They
and then they're running away because like everybody's gone or dead or like there's nobody left. Okay, the whole the whole city's abandoned at this point, and they're like, we gotta get to our ship. I can feel there's something gonna happen. And of course, Tech is like, this is not a good place. It'll get compromised. Then blah, blah, blah. Who cares, Tech? And, then Admiral General, what's his smooth face, starts blasting at Camino, just like pew, 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 pew. But not with like a gun.
I thought they were gonna bring like a prototype Death Star laser or something.
That's what I was like, we going Rogue One on this, or like
he straight up was just shooting bolts from the cruiser.
Just shoot it.
Yeah.
Sir, what do we do?
Shoot it.
And then they're running around and blah blah blah, city's falling. And literally sinking.
Sinking into the depths below. Titanic, eat your heart out.
And then the Bad Batch, there's a scene where they're falling, and we end up, as soon as it hits the ocean floor, basically.
And this starts to go into the part 2 of the finale.
Yeah, part 2. The end of the first episode was the shooting of the Camino city. And then we're sinking for like a good amount of time that they're like struggling. And once it hits the floor, the group kind of gets split up a little. And we see AZ, Omega, and Crosshair, who was incapacitated after their poodle is awake and he is stuck and he's getting ready to drown.
Prepare for drowning. Okay. Yeah. And the facility still has features that blocks off areas to
certain
prevent
parts,
flooding.
but it's slowly like coming in. So there's an interesting moment here where Hunter is with his boys, and he's just like, Omega, let's dip a Rooney. And Omega's like, oh my bad, Omega. Is like, no, we have to save Crosshair.
Crosshair.
And she single-handedly saves Crosshair from drowning.
Well, you forgot about AZ. AZ does his...
Oh, AZ's there too. AZ helps a lot this episode. And then they have to move. They're kind of just moving throughout the facility. Oh, they take the tube that they took before, right?
The underwater tube. They are conveniently right above it. AZ pulls out a welding stick, apparently. Starts going through like a full like foot and a half of steel somehow. He doesn't have a lightsaber. But
he's just ripping it, bro.
Why not? So they start walking through that tube. And
Crosshair's not having it, bro. Yeah. He's like,
what are we taking instructions from a child now? Shut up, Crosshair.
And then we get the monster comes and attacks them too.
It's the most like cliche thing. I thought it was gonna be a thing where it's like, everybody just turn off your lights.
That's what I thought too. I was like, turn off the lights, right? But whatever.
Yeah, they get to the lab, and this is where Crosshair gets his mind blown, and we're told Omega's older, which makes sense, because she has a natural growth.
Yeah, she's as old as Boba. They notice that the other underwater tube is Gonzo.
It's been broken, I guess.
So they have to come up with a new plan, because they only have a limited amount of air or something, right?
Yeah, critical amount of air in a couple of hours, so that's cool. But so this is where we get into like, Cole pointed this out to me, and I guess I just wasn't paying attention to this imagery. So please,
can I explain it?
Make our English teachers proud with your over-analysis of something that they probably didn't
My
intend.
over-analysis of a children's TV show. That's someone at my door. My over-analysis of a children's TV show is that so we find out in the episode before that these were the tubes that they were made in this lab in these tubes, and Omega was like, look, I helped push buttons. And this is where they were born and made, and who comes up with the idea? AZ? They come up with an idea. Someone comes up with the idea that if they take the tubes that they were made in, there'd be enough buoyancy in air to get them to the surface if you measure out the weight properly.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of metaphorical, because they came out of the lab as a team, and to get out of the lab again, they have to use a little teamwork, and they're kind of reborn at the end of the thing as they come out of the water in the destroyed Camino City. And welcome to my TED Talk.
Every English teacher is like, that's great, but it's only a C-. But yeah, so they're gonna blow up. There's a window. They're gonna blow the window, and they're gonna ride the buoyancy all the way up to the surface in these test tubes, or not in these like incubation tubes, pretty much.
Incubation tubes, yeah.
And then Hunter brings up the genius point, like, how are we gonna steer? And then Crosshair's like, well, the robot, you idiot.
The robot, yeah. And also AZ during this whole time is like glitching because he's so low on power.
He's like, I'm running out of power, boss.
Blow the spot, and they're like floating inside the thing, and then AZ pushes them out, right? And then a giant X comes and just fucking smacks Omega to the floor again. And AZ saves her, and he's pushing. He's like, And also, they all get to the surface. They all get to the surface except Omega, and then they're like, "Where's Omega?"
Just drowning.
Yeah. And then AZ powers out as he's like, "You're free." He's like, what does he say? He's like, "The debris is clear.
My objective is complete. You are safe."
And then he like lets go, and then it's like.
And then Omega's like, "Oh, I've got to save him."
Omega's
so she opens her.
Dude,
she opens
so
the pod. She opens the pod in the water. Not only would she be like pressed against and probably knocked out from being, but she like swims to grab a lifeless piece of metal that is sinking, and then starts to drown.
Yeah.
And then starts to drown.
And then all the above Clone Force 99's like, we can't see her. We can't see her. And then Hunter's about to be like, he's just like, I gotta get in there.
And Crosshair pulls out his gun, aiming it at Hunter.
Yeah, you're like, what's happening?
Bro, what?
But then we see, of course, good guy Crosshair repaying the favor that Omega did for him.
Shoots her in the head, making it quick.
Yeah. He somehow just has a grapple function on his sniper.
Why not? Yeah, no, there's a grapple function. Fires it straight in. Hits AZ. Oh, good. A concrete truck is driving by. This
hits AZ as Omega's lifeless body is like on top of AZ. And then they save the day, and it takes them. So like during this, it's nighttime, and everything's on fire, and then Tech's like, better start paddling. And by the time they're there, I love how it's like fully daytime. The fires are out. Everybody's just like.
I didn't even think of that. I didn't even like realize like, oh my gosh. And you rarely see Camino at day, right?
Yeah. It was fully daytime. It's rain.
It's usually just raining for like, and dark.
It was like, we get to this metaphorical thing again, but like the cloud is clear now. Like. They're kind of on a straight path, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the episode where I'm a philosopher.
Yeah, but so, you know, they're all like, all right, guys, let's get on our Marauder and go. Crosshairs, you're still our brother. You gonna come with us? And the Crosshairs like, the Republic, the Empire. They're like, okay, whatever. So he chooses
it's
to...
so dumb.
He's like, I'm just gonna stay on this platform and hope somebody comes back and is like gonna scout this out.
Whatever, dumbass, bro, dumbass. You move. They like fly. They fly away after, right? And Crosshair's just there.
They fly away.
And they fly to
who knows?
Show.
That's the end of them, and then we get this teaser where the scientist lady is brought to this mountain with building inside of it, and they're like, "We love your clone work. How about you work for us?" Yes.
There's a higher purpose. You'll have like a higher purpose. Obviously, it's like I think it's a reference, obviously, to Palpatine and him, and cloning a Force user now.
Mm-hmm. I still subscribe that the sequel trilogy is an alternate timeline.
Subscribed. I hope it'd be really cool if maybe next season, if that lady clones like Galen Merrick from Force Unleashed, Vader's apprentice. I'd love to see.
Oh yeah, Starkiller. The scene where they're on Camino. This is very much not
canon anymore. Hasn't been canon for a while, but
I know. But I feel like this was like Disney being like, do it.
But we'll get to the review of this, August, and
Bad Batch overall has been really boring. I'm gonna be honest.
So my
I kept
issue with
forgetting
Bad
about
Batch. Yeah, me too. I watched a lot of. I didn't realize how many episodes I had to watch last
I'd
night.
be
but
halfway
I
through
watched a lot.
Friday and then be like, "Oh snap! That's right, Bad Batch. Cool." What
So
is
I think
going on?
I think this series is has the right intention, right? It's I think Clone Force 99 is an interesting story to follow. The issue I think this series suffers from is that they're doing a bunch of little series to fill in holes of the story and to like complete like Rebels lore. And it really just feels like a connecting piece to another series instead of its very own flushed out series. Um, like I could have just watched I honestly could have just watched the first couple episodes where Crosshair leaves, the episode where they remove their inhibitor chips, the episode where they save there's one more I'm forgetting. They
Gregor?
saved Gregor. There's Gregor, but there's one before that. Obviously, it's not that important because I can't remember it. And then the finale, and it could have been a 6-part series, and I would have been so happy with that. And then they could have done a season 2, or like I don't know. They could actually spread that out because the first episode was like an hour and a half, wasn't it? Um, But overall, I do like them filling in the lore, but it slows down the story for me so much. I do love the Hera episodes, but to be honest, I maybe was that a season 2, maybe almost an end of Rebels, like a beginning for Rebels thing. Um, I like the way they spaced it out, and I do love the dynamic they have with Sid and the Sid story, but it's not really necessary to tell. I think the priority should have been the Crosshair story. Um, Crosshair and Rex, and about them kind of ending this saga of being cloned, because now they're kind of their own people, and I think that's what they really represent in the finale. And I think the finale is really strong. I think there's a couple episodes that are really, really strong for Clone Force 99. Um, but there's just a some that just I feel like pull down my score for this. And um, we'll pop up the TV scale. Okay. And um, I'm probably putting this honestly, if it was just the episodes I listed, it's honestly like an 8 or a 9 for me. I really love those few handful episodes that tell that story. But with these episodes, I'm at like 6 or 7 because it really pulls that away from me. It's like in Clone Wars when we had this fucking Rafa story, and they brought Rafa back. I can't.
That
Like,
was the biggest crime was they returned
Disrespect.
those stupid characters. They're gone. You should have left them. Okay. I mean, yeah. What you said, pretty much everything you said, I agree with. It's got the start and the end are really good. The middle and besides a couple key episodes, is just kind of filler. It's like it's cool that we get these explanations for like the chain codes or the Hera or the saw outside my room, but like
It doesn't focus. I felt like it didn't focus on Clone Force 99 enough. And also the episode that the Chain Codes episode when they meet the farm guy, that's one that I think that was pretty good too because it builds this Omega and Hunter relationship.
Yeah, I couldn't pinpoint for a while like what was their purpose, what were they trying to do. There was no. It felt like at the very start it was like protecting Omega and finding themselves, and then that kind of just trailed off to them doing jobs and stuff.
Yeah, for Sid and helping Sid, which yeah, I felt like maybe you do that. Like that was definitely like a season 2. Like they're being themselves now. But I think that's. I think we agreed. We got a score. Let's get to some predictions for season 2 because I have some kind of high hopes for this. Um, which is probably going to be completely wrong, and I'm going to be utterly crying and destroyed. But I really want to see one of two things. One of two things at least. I want to see. We saw the Pikes one episode. The gangsters, of course. and I want to see maybe them go up against Maul. Maybe they somehow have to go and do a mission and they fight Maul. I think that would be so cool. Of course, next season also they're gonna have to reunite with Crosshair, I think, and patch up that relationship. But I'd love to see him do a go against Maul, and deal with and build on that Maul building his syndicate. So once you watch Solo, you're like, "Holy shit, we've been building this the whole time. I've seen this coming." Because we see a little bit in Rebels, but it's like nothing. Um, and that's why I loved in Clone Wars is when he's kind of like dealing with all the people and um but Maul because Dave Filoni loves Little Maul, and I do too, baby.
Everybody loves Little Maul. He's
And
so good.
and Dave Filoni, I didn't mention this in the review part, but the writing and your storytelling, I think, is great. And even these episodes, I kind of didn't think fit. They're great episodes, but like not with the compilation of the season. Um, but we move the so I want to see Maul, or second thing, I want to see Vader. I want to see that model of Vader that you've been hiding from me so bad.
That beautiful model you had at the
Too.
very end. Oh, so good.
Oh,
Don't keep it from us,
I want to see
Filoni.
Vader. So I think it'd be. This is so out there. I don't think they'll do it. Of course, we get the Camino cloner. I think if they do a Star Killer Vader, you bring either way. I want Sam Witwer in the show as Maul or a Star Killer again. Um, so I think those two storylines would be so cool. Either or, Maul or a Star Killer Vader, and you don't even have to touch on Star Killer Vader too much. Maybe you do a Star Killer series, a Vader series.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, oh, I actually have a pretty interesting. I would love to see an episode where Vader's in the background the whole time. He's never like interacting with Clone Force 99, but they're so afraid of him that they're like, even Wrecker is stealth mode. Okay, like I want them going around and you just like see like slits, and they look through and they just see Vader like choking,
walking around. Yeah, dude,
they're just like,
because I really feel like I think the only really I got a truck coming by too. The only Star Wars medium I think does it Vader real justice because of how powerful they make him sound. Fallen Order, I like that's Vader is oppressive. He's oppressive. And I know we got Space Jesus Luke defeats him, but like
you don't win against Vader. You don't. There's no way to beat Vader in that game.
Yeah.
Run!
I think
in the comics too, Vader is just oppressive, and I want to see some fucking oppressive Vader where he's got daddy issues and mommy issues, and he's lost his children, and he's just pissed, bro. I just want to see Vader.
Vader at the end of Fallen Order and the end of Rogue One is peak Vader. Like that's him. You see that he's restricted by the suit, but that doesn't stop him. He's gonna chop you apart. It don't matter.
Shit, bro.
But okay, one thing I do think is going to happen is we saw Gregor, right? Yep. We saw him. I think we're gonna see Wolf in the next season.
Wolf for sure. Yeah.
I feel like that's just kind of a given because we're assembling Rex's squad here.
Yeah, so I hope they reunite with Rex and then they deal with one of those two problems that I mentioned. And I hope we might see an Omega and Boba reaction, like them coming together too. I think that would be really interesting. But that's about it I have for predictions. I think we talked about some, like those are some pretty big points I want to see. Like,
yeah, I'd love to see Boba's ship.
Yeah, the Slave One.
I'm sorry, what did you just say? I'm calling Disney. Hey, this.
I just want and maybe just throw in one little storyline, like one filler storyline, or somehow tie the filler into the main thing, because I felt like the filler, they were working for money. I get it, and money's important, but it doesn't help build the story. I get that they need to survive. But yeah, that's like my only gripes. I really do love Dave Filoni's work, and this Disney's trying to prove you don't need Jedi to have great Star Wars, and I think that's true. great Star Wars is in the universe. It's not about the Jedi. It's about the people that live in the universe.
But it doesn't hurt to have a Jedi or a Sith.
It doesn't
every so
hurt.
often.
It doesn't hurt to show Vader just slashing people. Yes, because that's of course part of the major universe.
I also think we're gonna see a lot of we're gonna see more of the clones starting to defect. That was a storyline that we started to get, and so I think that will explain why there's more stormtrooper than clone trooper in the ranks. Either if that's just the Empire getting cautious and just mass genocide clones. So that might be interesting.
We find out in Rebels after they train most of the stormtroopers, they just start retiring the motherfuckers. They just start mass retire. Yeah. But I think that's about it for the video, unless you have something to add, August.
I just want to apologize for like the literal construction zone that's decided to happen as we started recording. But yeah, no, decent show. Cut the filler or make the filler mean something. But yeah. Thanks guys so much for watching.
Like, comment, subscribe.
We're gonna be talking about what ifs and Bad Batch season 2 eventually, maybe Titan season 3 if.
Or everything.
We've got stuff coming, I promise.
Shang-Chi's coming out soon, Eternal soon, Spider-Man soon.
Yeah. So, all right, guys.